Am I on?
Yes, we're ready to start.
Okay. Sige. Hello, Miss Angeli. Natimbaya lang ko kadali. Thank you so much for joining us here sa ma'am. We really appreciate your presence here. Anyways, welcome. Good evening. Change makers from the University of Mindanao. Thank you for joining us here on the Launchpad, the Hult Prize at UM webinar series, where we provide you with information, ideas, learnings, and inspiration to help you, our aspiring challengers, in developing your social enterprise idea as we move on and continue in the Hult Prize, the biggest global movement for social impact. We are still on our quest to find the most impactful and scalable enterprise from the University of Mindanao, and which will or who will represent Mindanao or the Philippines, hopefully, in the global final competition. And of course, the challenge to take on for 2020, the Hult Prize 2021 challenge is, as you all know, is the Food for Good, transforming food into a vehicle for change. This challenge is actually to question our existing food systems at their core, the way we pay, track, make, preserve, import, export, and consume. At the same time, it also asks the youth to create more income for those who don't have it, create jobs for those that want them, save the environment with every cup or ounce of meat consumed, among others. Most importantly, the challenge is about food and human experience. So from that alone, our enterprise will evolve on those ideas for our Food for Good challenge. This is Rob Gumba, the operations manager of the Hult Prize at UM, and your moderator for tonight's webinar. Before we go on to the rationale of our third webinar, this is already our third. We already launched the first one, which is about the food industry in the new normal. And of course, the second was about building business with impact for our social enterprises. We would like to thank our and acknowledge our partners and sponsors for this evening and for this webinar as well. Uma Senso Hub, we also would like to thank Street Buy. Thank you also Sureplus. Also, thank you so much Checkpoint, Lechon Manok, and Liempo House. Daghang kaayong salamat to our media partner, Mindanao Times, the support of the Council of the College Student Government and the student governments of the University of Mindanao, and of course, the sponsors and partners of the Hult Prize Foundation, which is the unicorn.org, and the United Nations Office of Partnership. Also, later on, the exciting part, we will be giving away GCash prizes to those who joined us this evening, and we will announce it at the end of the webinar. So stay tuned, everyone. If you have questions later to our speakers, you may send them through our chat box or the comment section of our Facebook live stream nga makita ninyo to sa atong Facebook page na Hult Prize at University of Mindanao. All right. So, to formally start, our farmers produce more crops, grains, poultry, among others, hoping to sell them all. But there are times that there are vegetables or fruits that perish than sold. And we, the consumers, also tend to dispose the food we can't finish. Food waste sounds harmless, or is it? There is more going on in the food cycle that needed attention to curb its adverse effects in the economy and environment. Welcome everyone to Launchpad, Repurposing Food Waste for Sustainability, where we zoom in on our food waste situation and explore the enterprise opportunities in this area. Our speakers tonight will give two perspectives from the fast food industry and also from our homes, and also on the agriculture sector. So that's a very diverse and very rich discussion ahead of us. So our first speaker is currently running the cacao-based enterprise with sweets and savouries. But before that, she was once the operations and HR director of a USA-based quick food service company under the Jollibee group of companies tasked with developing the West Coast area by hiring, training, management teams who opened Jollibee branches in California, USA. She is a natural farming practitioner and advocate. She is now implementing sustainable farming practices in her integrated farm, Gran Verde Farm in Calinan, employing mostly farmers and women. And also, she is promoting the holistic development of land and people. Please welcome everyone, the Wit Sweets and Savouries owner, Miss Wit Holganza. Our second speaker is a medical doctor with a sustainable degree in Tokyo. She's an advocate of the health of the people and the planet as well as circular economy. Because of this, she founded a social enterprise to help farmers sell their surplus produce or connect them and the restaurants with charities and communities in need, thereby minimizing hunger and food waste. Her enterprise is a recipient of a grant from the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative Seeds for the Future program, a program sponsored by the U.S. Department through the U.S. mission to ASEAN. Please welcome the founder of Sureplus, Miss Angeli Guadalupe. Hello, Miss Angeli. Thank you so much. So we now proceed to the presentations. So we'll start with Miss Wit. Miss Wit, take it away.
Okay. Hi. I'm just going to start screen sharing now. Just 1 minute. Okay. Hi. Everyone is able to speak Bisaya. I just want to make that clear. Yes?
Oh.
Yes, Miss
So,
Wit.
mayong gabi sa tanan. I hope Angeli can understand.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Kasamot ko Bisaya.
Yes. Okay. Good. So I'm a mother of 4 children, and just like Hannah, I studied nutrition and dietetics. So yung sinasabi ni Rob kanina, 2 decades of working with the leading fast food chain, I saw just exactly how much waste fast food chains can generate. And then also, I think I failed to include in my biodata that I operated a technical vocational school for 8 years, developing talent for call centers as well as non-voice like virtual assistants and transcribers. And then very recently, actually by November 30, I'm closing my BPO. I have a BPO outfit. We've operated it for a good 10 years, but the COVID and the pandemic has affected business for healthcare services. So right now, I'm really pursuing something that I truly love, and that is farming. Okay, so sorry, I need to okay. So my passion right now is really cacao farming, and I produce cacao beans that I make into several products. Like Rob mentioned, we create cacao nib granolas, we create dark chocolate. Apart from farming cacao, I also conduct food tours to be able to develop an increasing awareness and knowledge for not just farmers, but even just the general public about the health benefits of cacao and the health benefits of farming and gardening. So I'd like to put some context in my presentation by just looking at the food supply now. As far as food supply is concerned, there are challenges faced by small to medium scale food growers. And what are some of these challenges? Number one, very minimal government intervention to control market forces. which means the farmers are left to their own devices to look at where they can bring their products. Very little market matching is, again, facilitated by government between growers and buyers, such that consolidators actually dictate the buying prices at the farm gate, and that often results to farmers getting very little profit for the corresponding amount of work that they do. Most of the government assistance right now being given to food growers like us, farmers, it's focused on either subsidizing fertilizers and giving out seeds. I suppose Angeli is very familiar with this, having innovated something that truly brings her down to help the farmers. And now, also to put further context, look at the consumer behavior. Even at home, I think there is a lack of awareness for the definition of what good food truly is. For the busy mother and for the busy young professional, what is good food is something that's instant, something that we can easily access, and something that's really convenient, but not necessarily healthy. So Hannah will agree with me because she's a dietitian herself na, instant food is never healthy. Yon. And then when we open our own refrigerators, there's so much food waste. I mean, we usually buy more than what we can consume. And what truly is wasted are the fresh produce. So, look at your own refrigerators. I'm pretty sure you will find na may nabubulok na dyan ng mga gulay, and something that really lasts for a long time, again, is not necessarily natural and not necessarily healthy. As far as industry is concerned, having worked for 2 decades with the fast food industry, the two drivers talaga of the business is one, profitability and brand image. And because profitability is a key driver for a food establishment, accurate forecasting is key. And syempre, again, forecasting is not there's a human element there. It's not a perfect science. There are many forces that can affect your ability to forecast properly. And therefore, a lot of the fast foods will end up having so much more food that's cooked than what is actually sold. And then, of course, what do fast food do with food that is unsold at the end of the day? More often than not, in fact, as a general rule, the policy of most fast food chains is to never have employees give away or take home any of the products that remain unsold. So you've all walked into a fast food store. You've seen food warmer bins filled with fried chicken, burgers, and all the other different products that they sell. Because of the parang concern of protecting brand image, fast foods will never have you consume food that is unsold for fear of litigation. So again, andun yung mga safety issues na baka mamaya may food poisoning and all that. So more important yung i-protect yung brand image than to actually use that food for good to help people who are going hungry. And the last thing that you will notice in many fast food chains is the fact that there is a proliferation of waste talaga, both food and non-food. Why? Because you have packaging materials, you have drinking cups, you have all these plastic, eating apparatus like the straws and everything. So it's not just food that's going to waste, it's also all the paper and non-edible products that we generate as waste. When COVID came, we all know that, we started feeling restrictions in mobility. We couldn't just go out to buy food. We also noted a rise in food prices. But there was farmers had the biggest problem because sila yung food source, but they did not, they came face to face with limited logistics. So they were left to their own accord to be able to bring their goods to where they can sell them. And then we saw also closure, downsizing, and limited operations of food chains. So these challenges filtered down to us consumers. With COVID-19, there was a renewed interest in backyard and container gardening, right? Nakita nyo naman how many people are parang now increasingly gaining that interest to learn how to grow their own food, whether it's a simple herb or even more vegetables. We've seen a lot of the manicured gardens partly converted into vegetable beds, grow beds. We've also seen a rise in home-based food suppliers. Here in the village where I live, uh, we have a lot of neighbors that sell all kinds of cooked food, from breads and pastries to main dishes and cakes. And then food bartering was also pretty common, but of course not as much now. But in the early stages of the lockdown, people bartered kunwari canned goods in exchange for milk, in exchange for diapers, etc. And then we also saw a proliferation of home delivery services. And I think this is where Angeli can expound a little bit more, because what we're seeing right now is that people are still restricted as far as access is concerned. They're still worried about going out, so they mostly engage personal shoppers already. As long as their requirements are met, personal shoppers go out to these grocery chains and buy everything that they need and get it delivered to the homes. And as an account of that, online shopping and online reselling, even of branded goods, happen. I think many of us have experienced buying ready-to-cook food from many fast food chains, be it Chowking, Jollibee, diba? So nakita natin yon. So online reselling for Jollibee, Chicken Joy was happening. So yun yung effect ng COVID sa food business. Many restaurants closed, but at the same time, what we saw happening was that some restaurants who closed some of their branches also converted partly yung existing restaurants nila to becoming relief kitchens. And so these relief kitchens help in the food distribution during relief operations. So I guess that those facilities, food preparation facilities, became facilities for good, because they actually help during natural tragedies. With government naman, what happened? There was more support for home and village-based food gardens. There was seed distribution, whereas before farmers would be the only ones qualified to receive seeds. Now, even a homemaker, even families can go and get seeds already so that they can start their own home gardening, home growing. And then there was more training for how to grow your own food, whether it be just urban and container gardening or a more extensive grow bed. Farms were assisted initially through the purchase of crops sold at rolling stores. In that way, immediately after the lifting of COVID, the ECQ, the LGU went around the farms to ask what crops was being harvested and if they can buy them so that they can sell them at rolling stores. So on that note, the LGU was able to assist farmers, but it was not sustainable. I think they've stopped already buying, and they've mostly left it to private partners like Sureplus to be able to get the produce straight from the farms themselves. And I'm not sure if you've heard about Digital Governance Awards. The Digital Governance Awards, operated by the DILG and the National ICT Confederation of the Philippines and the Department of ICT, has launched the Digital Governance Awards. And what is that? These are LGU-operated and technology-enabled innovations that are able to deliver basic services. In this particular case, during the run of the Digital Governance Awards, I sat as a judge to look at government-to-business innovations. And what I've seen was LGUs were now involved in getting farm produce to consumers through several models. And I will cite one example. A municipality here in Luzon, what they did was they actually created an app to be able to take an inventory of all the farms and their crops. And then they accredited tricycle drivers who were marginalized by the COVID and lost their income. They became the riders or the delivery persons, and they were trained and they were given hygiene kits. They were given tarpaulins to put in on their motorcycles, and then they were given training on how to receive orders, where to purchase them, and how to deliver them, and how to remit the money. So in that way, government was able to help the farmers and then the tricycle operators, increasingly hindi lang farmers, even the small groceries, the tricycle operators, and the consumers. Eventually, this kind of operations were transferred to a private group already to continue na. So for sustainability. So these were some of the things that were happening. But my question really now is, how are we effectively reducing food waste? I think for the examples that I've cited earlier, there is a move, there is a more proactive move to reduce food waste. And you've seen that in the examples I've said earlier, where on the home front, people are now realizing that their kitchen waste can be converted as food for the soil. So they're doing their own decomposting. On the restaurant side of it, the move towards reducing use of plastic with paper bags, with not anymore issuing straws and all that, these are all parts of an effort to reduce food waste. Even for big manufacturing facilities like San Miguel Foods, there is an effort to reduce and recycle food waste through a partnership with a private corporation who can convert it into animal feed or, again, an organic fertilizer. So I think more of the efforts right now happening is really on reduction of food waste. But repurposing food waste, I think that's another matter. To repurpose food waste means to actually create it into either food for man, or food for animals, or food for the plants, or food for the soil. And I guess here are some more questions I'd probably like to leave. How do we repurpose kitchen waste faster to become soil food? Because decomposing your own kitchen waste will take no less than 6 months. How can we convert farm waste such as leaves, flowers, and grass to become animal food and alternative food for man? One of my colleagues went to Ecuador to take a look at the chocolate industry of Ecuador and how they're growing cacao, and they noted that the pods, once you take out the cacao beans from the pods, we pretty much leave it on the ground to decompose and become a soil conditioner. But in Ecuador, they found a way to produce it as a pasta, as a pasta dish. So apparently dietitians and even culinary specialists can look at other ways to create food out of something that we just throw out. We don't have to look any further. Cacao Culture, one of the companies that we work with in Cacao City, actually makes tea from the hulls or the shells of the cacao beans that we throw out. So can we make building materials out of durian shell? So again, I've cited already tea from cacao shells. How do we convert restaurant packaging leftovers to become alternative building materials? How do we repurpose hundreds of gallons of used oil from the fryers? Diba? Kasi what's happening now is that used oil from the fast food chains are bought by street food vendors so that they can use it for frying your fishbowl, your kikiam, and all that. But again, after that, it's thrown out and it clogs up all our drainages. And what about food waste from food manufacturing companies? I suppose food waste from food manufacturing companies can be made into something more than just, again, organic fertilizer. So if you look at the Hult price website, you're seeing their really, really unique innovations such as Sweet Bites, where they reverse tooth decay among children through chewing gum. These are the food-related innovations. And then there's Aspire, who farms larvae of weevils and actually produces 100% dry roasted crickets for human consumption. And then you have Rice Inc. They produce jasmine rice that does good by working with communities and making sure that part of the profits goes back to the community that farmed the jasmine rice. So these are just some examples of repurposing food for good. And I hope that this particular webinar and the succeeding webinars sponsored by the HP Launchpad can continue to generate more exciting and unique ideas for how we can actually change and disrupt the way we eat, the way we buy, the way we move, on account of future leaders such as yourselves who will be able to come up with such unique ideas. So having said that, I'd like to end my presentation now and say salamat for just giving me a platform to be able to share. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Sweet. Grabe ang ideas, and of course, thank you so much for bringing the sample innovations of Hult Price. I think those were some of the innovations na nadaog. So, or mga enterprises nga nadaog sa Hult Prize competition. And I guess, atong mga our students here, our future challengers, have already an idea what kind of enterprise they can build and will qualify for the Hult Prize. Thank you very, very much. Now we will also look at the agriculture sector with the help of another social enterprise. And again, please welcome Miss Angeli Guadalupe, the founder of Sureplus. Miss Angeli, go ahead.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So I'll share my screen too.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Ayan, can you see my presentation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So, sige. So, ang dami nang nasabi ni Ma'am Wit. Thank you so much, Ma'am. That was very informative. Actually, I think like Sureplus has lots to learn from you. So, yeah, we definitely keep in touch with you po in the future. So, for now, yes, a short intro on Sureplus. Basically, I think many of us are aware with the problem on food waste, as what Ma'am Wit also talked about. So, on the global level, apparently 940 billion US dollars is being lost per year, and then this is estimated to increase by 2030. And then what's worse with food waste compared to plastic waste is it releases methane, especially pag dump na sa landfills. And then methane is 20 times more potent than carbon dioxide in contributing to global warming. So yun, minsan tataka ako na ang daming initiatives or efforts on handling plastic waste, pero wala masyado on food waste when in fact, you know, it actually contributes more to climate change. And then on the other hand, there's this ironic problem na lots of people are hungry worldwide. So globally, 821 million experience hunger, and then sa mga kids, 45% of deaths under 5 years old are linked to undernutrition. And then what's worse with this is on the first 1,000 days of life or the first 3 years of a kid's life, if the kid is malnourished, there's an irreversible decrease dun sa IQ ng bata. So this makes you think na siguro that's why lots of Filipinos, you know, are not so smart or what, kasi it boils down from childhood pa lang. So from that age, we should already target undernutrition. And on the Philippines level, these are just some data kasi ang konti ng data natin dito sa country. So in Benguet, 60 tons of vegetables daw are thrown daily. And then another one we found is that it's estimated that each Filipino wastes 3.29 kilograms of rice per year. So if you total that with our population, it's enough to feed daw 4.3 million Filipinos. So diba, isipin yun how much of our population is under the poverty line, tapos pwede sana ma-feed ng mga sobra of others who are well off. And then I think many of us have heard of the concept of pagpag in Tondo, Manila, also in Baseco, Payatas, or in people who can't afford to buy food. They look for food in garbage, tapos yun, they dust it off, kaya pagpag ang tawag, and then recook it, and yun yung kinakain nila. So nakakaawa, diba? Tingnan or isipin. And actually in Manila, some guys are asking like how from being a doctor, I'm also doing this. In Manila kasi, I studied medicine there in UP Manila. Tapos if you're familiar with the Ermita Malate area, ang daming beggars everywhere. And then, well, kami, we have to study for long hours, so we go to cafes. And then there's this cafe that I frequent. It's a French cafe. I'm not allowed to say the brand, but basically, pag 8:30 p.m., they put their breads on discount, like 50% off, ganon. So, marami tayong narinig ng mga ganon, right? So, what I do is, after our 8 to 5 lectures, I take a nap and then eat dinner. And then after, pupunta na ako dun sa cafe just in time for these discounts. And then that's when I start studying. So sometimes I stay late up to 4 a.m. ganyan. And then I noticed na even with the 50% discount, marami pa ring natitira, no? And then I asked them what they do with the pastries na natira. And then they said before they used to give it to communities, they used to donate them. But because of incidents wherein their bread is being resold, and then they don't want their reputation, as what Ma'am Wit nga mentioned, their brand is on the line. So what they do now, they don't donate them anymore. They throw them away around 5 a.m. ganun, and then nilalagyan pa ng water and soap just to make sure na walang kukuha from the garbage to resell them. So diba, napakasayang talaga, and just right around them you see so many beggars. So yun, it's a very glaring problem. Kaya this is how I became personally concerned or involved in targeting the problem of food waste and hunger. No? And then, so now naman down to the city level, this is some data that we found. This shows how much waste we have, food and kitchen waste and vegetable and fruit residues compared to plastics, newspapers. So you can see that there's a huge difference, you know, more than 10 times than others. So this highlights the gravity of the problem and how we should, you know, put more effort and time in solving the problem of food waste. And the next, this is the data we got from the City Agricultural's office. So we were concerned kasi that maybe the problem of food waste is because there's a mismatch in terms of food access, distribution, etc. So we wanted to analyze and go down to the root of the solution. So we went to the source. So we started with the farmers, and from these data, we saw that there's really a surplus from the farmers level pa lang. And we all know that farmers, they don't earn a lot, and much more if they have all these losses that they're not able to sell, right? So from the State Agriculture's office, it's actually a long file, but they have this program called CLEAR. Basically, they help farmers who don't have the capacity, the connections to bring their produce to the city and sell. So they have this program to help in the transportation of those products. And then from this program, they were able to help transport 36,000 plus kilos in just a month. And this is just in Davao, you know. Yung mga farms in yung malapit sa Buda Banda, so may Turil, Kalinan. So these are, here you can see Talomo, Turil, so pretty much malapit pa lang ito na farms, no? But this is how much there is surplus in the farms, no? And then next, so from the farmers, we also looked at the vendors, and we saw that in Bangkerohan, this is a picture I took myself. So these are sacks of near expiry products from Bangkerohan Public Market. These are just from a few stalls, hindi pa to sa lahat, no? So each sack could carry around 20, 50 to 80 kilograms of a product, depends on the product. And you can see here, ganito kadami, tinatapon nila every day. So napakasayang, no? So this is what we want to capture also from the vendors. And then we also conducted a survey from them because there's not enough data being gathered, so we collected it ourselves. So part of the survey, we asked that in a day, how much waste do they throw away? And then majority, around 32% said that they throw away more than 20 kilograms per day. So you can just see how much they're throwing away. And then next is we ask them which products do they have most waste of. And then 40% are from vegetables, and then next followed by fruits. So you can see that fruits and vegetables, because they easily perish, kaya ito yung majority na natatapon. So what does Sureplus do? So basically, we aim to sell extra food products to people looking for more affordable food. So this way we get to target the food waste and hunger, like hitting two birds with one stone. So first, with those extra Class A products from the farms, especially smallholder farmers, We help sell their products, pre-sell them online through our website, sureplus.net. So what Class A means is ito yung usually preferred by malls. What they get from the farmers, they have like these specifications in terms of dimensions, weight, etc. Marami, super daming specifications. So, but still, despite all these, meron pa rin natitirang Class A. So this is what we help to capture. And especially from smallholder farmers, we have partners from Turil, Kalinan. They don't have the capacity to sell online, mostly because matatanda sila. They're not even that active on Facebook. Some don't even have their own cell phones. And then because they're just a small farm, so it's expensive for them to transport even just from Turil or Kalinan to the city, no? So yeah, we help sell their products online. We do pre-selling because we want to minimize waste nga. And then next for Class B and C, ito yung hindi pumasa sa specifications ng mall. So they're perfectly edible, pero medyo deformed ang itsura, hindi na siya ganun ka-appealing tingnan, hindi ganun ka-flawless. So they don't pass supermarket standards. We collect them, and then we pre-sell also to bulk buyers. So these are institutions. And then we were supposed to target restaurants, but as we all know, mahina ang restaurants nowadays. So hopefully in the near future, we get them as clients as well. And then last is we also gather the near expiry. The one I showed you in the picture, yung tinatapon sa bangkerahan. So instead of them being thrown away, because I saw talaga that they are still perfectly edible, yung pwede pang maluto. Siguro hindi na ganun kaganda for selling. So yun, we gather these for free and donate them to charities. So you might wonder, like, how we're able to do these, as a social enterprise, how we're able to sustain our operations. So this is one, we're being funded. We're so lucky to have been one of the 25 winners in the ASEAN region of the YCD Seeds for Future grant. So I actually encourage you also to join this. It goes every year. They just closed their applications though for next year. So hopefully next year, usually it's around October to November when they call for applications. So they're very helpful. They funded the creation of our website and upcoming app. So how does Sureplus help the farmers? So I can explain this kanina. So in helping the smallholder farmers, basically we cut the middleman and we bring their products closer to the city. That's one. And then, yeah, so we have this website. Maybe it's better if I show you the actual website. I don't know if you could see the website or still the presentation. I think it's in the presentation. Okay, here we go. So yeah, this is our website. Can you see it now?
Yes, Miss Angeli.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so for now, we deliver on Tuesdays and Fridays. And then, so yeah, this is how our website looks like. So we have different categories. We have here the bestsellers, bagsak presyo. For immediate consumption, sometimes recently, like there was a seller who had at least 100 kilos of mangoes. Parang there are instances kasi na they have bulk buyers na hindi natutuloy. So they ask our help, and then gratefully we're able to mobilize and advertise, and people were able to buy all those. So walang nasayang, and this really shows how helpful communication is nowadays. And then we also have other partners. You can see here, Healthy and Happy. So this is interesting because Healthy and Happy actually sprung from Sureplus. Basically, they're a group of bakers who are like-minded. We're so grateful that they're helping us. They make products like, if you can see, so here, like fresh lumpia, Vietnamese spring roll, malunggay pandesal with kalabasa filling, gyoza. Itong gyoza, ang laman nito is puso ng saging, yung mga ganun. So, calamansi mini cupcakes. So, they produce comfort food that are healthy, that are vegan, and also at affordable prices. So that this way, we also help to minimize food wastage from the farmers, because we realized that Filipinos have unhealthy lifestyle, the majority of us. So they thought of creative ways to integrate vegetables and fruits. And then also because of this pandemic, there's an increase in demand for comfort food. So this is a nice way also to somehow provide the comfort food that people need nowadays, no? And then other stores also ask help from us because they have surplus. So at first we focus on fruits and vegetables, but Beck and Jerry's here, so they sell vegan meat. So they also ask for our help. And then, yeah, so as you can see, these are some of their products. They have shawarma meat, sisig. These are really good, no? They are like real meat, especially if you're able to cook them well as how they do it in the restaurants. Unfortunately, I tried, pero hindi ganun kasarap ang pagluto ko. So maybe better to just eat in their restaurants. Ayun. And then, yeah, recently, there's also this organic producers from Duhali in Davao del Norte. They provide organic white, brown, pink, red rice, brown rice, black rice, because these are all healthier, right? And adlay also. And then meat, before, at first we didn't want to cater meat products because we want to promote a plant-based lifestyle primarily because we believe it's healthier for the planet, because I think some of you know that meat production, the meat industry contributes a lot to global warming. But since the core of our enterprise is zero waste, zero hunger, and nowadays, lots of our meat suppliers, vendors, also have surplus kasi mahina daw talaga, mas konti na yung pupunta sa market and maybe people are saving up. So now we've also included meat among our roster of products. So yun basically, so that's our website. So it's very easy, convenient to use. We've got great feedbacks from our users, from our customers. And I think in the city, we have one of the best, very user-friendly na websites, no? So now let me go back to my presentation. Okay, can you see my presentation now?
Yes po.
Okay, ayan. So, ayan, so that was our website. So this is an example of how we pack orders. So we use reusable bayongs, and then we have like the balik bayong program. And then we minimize plastic, so we use paper bags, no? And so that was for targeting the food waste problem. On the other hand, for the hunger problem, we have partnered with Art Relief Mobile Kitchen. They do feeding programs, activities. Actually, for next week, there's one in Mintal on December 6 to 8. So if any of you are interested to volunteer, to be highly appreciated, especially in terms of vehicle. They need a vehicle to bring the food from the kitchen where it's going to be cooked and then where it's going to be distributed. No? So they're now feeding communities that are in lockdown. And if you are aware, I think they're also targeting communities kung saan giniba, parang dinemolish yung bahay bigla-bigla. So yun, so these communities are affected so much. So we are partnering with Art Relief Mobile Kitchen. They're also accepting donations, so you can also donate directly to them. So that's what Sureplus has been doing basically since March this year. Our future plans is to launch our mobile app, hopefully by December. This is still Android version. Hopefully in the future we'll have more funds in order to launch also an iOS version. And then we also wish to create value-added products, such as what Ma'am Wit has mentioned. So included in these are yung parang Nutri-Gel packs, or disaster relief food products that we can also use. And then we are also in talks with other institutions who would want to partner with us. There are lots of interesting use of food waste. That's what Ma'am Wit mentioned. Actually, Ateneo had this webinar recently wherein they had this research na from pineapple waste, bromelain could be produced. Bromelain is being used in food supplements as meat tenderizer, etc. Yeah, and then also from marang wastes, bioethanol, biodiesel, biobriquettes could be made. So it's really interesting, how all these could be made from food waste. So hopefully we'll have more of that, and hopefully Sureplus will be the one to connect these food waste to all these food processors, food manufacturing industries. And then we also hope to capture surplus from restaurants and groceries. So it's going to be also integrated in the app. And then lastly, we hope to put up cloud kitchens and our food banks. Ito ang malaking pangarap namin, which we hope would be possible here in Davao. So I think you're familiar with the concept of cloud kitchens. We think that this would be able to reduce the expenses of restaurants, and minimize also their food wastage, especially when there's coordination between their inventory and logistics, etc. And then food banks, we hope that it will be like a one-stop shop for people who are looking for more affordable food. So the challenge here is finding the place and actually being able to sustain, to run it, so that people could easily go there and look for food. Suppliers who have extra or even near expiry products, they can put it there and then people could just get or buy. So these are all our future plans. Hopefully they would be able to materialize. So if you're also able to help us, we're open to volunteers, interns, etc. If you want to refer some partners to Sureplus, we're very open to that. So that's it. Thank you for your time. And yeah, we're open for questions and comments. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Angeli Guadalupe, for your very comprehensive and of course, ang daming takeaways for your presentation. First na is because you mentioned kanina hindi masyadong chine-check or tinitingnan ang food waste as a problem or a phenomena here. So perhaps now is the time to look at food waste to parang make something out of it and reduce or repurpose it. So, and also sa ating mga challengers, perhaps in the future you will be able to create an enterprise that needs food waste or produce. Maybe Sureplus will become your supplier in the future. And yun, so maybe I'll just ask for all our participants, you may ask your questions to our speakers this evening through our chat box or sa ating Facebook Live. And before anything else pala, I just would like to acknowledge very, very quick lang ang ating, we have here the manager joining us, the manager of the Umasenso Hub, si Sir Efren Luis Pahota, and the Umasenso Hub Technology Officer, Miss Melissa Mesagal. Thank you so much for joining us in the Hult Price Launchpad webinar. I'm just curious, Miss Angelino, because for the last months or days that you have already started the Sureplus, are there still parang moments or are there still parang instances that marami pa ring parang masasayang, or there's still mga produce na left sa inyong parang storage, and how do you handle this situation if nangyari sa inyo?
In terms of storage, we don't store any because we pre-sell them. So we only get from suppliers what's being pre-ordered because we want to minimize food wastage nga. But one disadvantage of this is we couldn't get so much in bulk. Like there was a surplus of calabasa recently, like 5 tons. They would be able to give them cheaper to us if we get all of those. But you know, we don't store, so we couldn't get them at a cheaper price. So that's one disadvantage. But at least we're sure that, you know, we don't have like false promises na you know, we can sell all those. So we just get what we're able to pre-sell. So in terms of our storage, there's none. But in terms of, you know, in other producers among the suppliers, there's still a lot to capture, and it's kind of heartbreaking actually not being able to capture all these and sell. So hopefully over time we get to have more buyers or partners, especially institutions, because these are the ones who are able to capture fast, especially when near expiry products. So we have been in talks with BJMP and Gawad Kalinga because these products, they, like for example, some vendors, they want to maximize selling. So some of them like uh, 1 to 3 days na lang masisira na yung product. So at least with institutions, they would be able to cook right away the food and then distribute them. And then when you distribute kasi in food relief missions, you are able to make sure that the people eat the food right away, because one concern for food safety before, like when you donate food and you don't see that the people eat the food right away, that's when the problem happens. They bring the food to their homes and then they eat after 2 or 3 days. So yun, masisira na. But when you make sure that it's being eaten right away on the spot, then you're sure that they consumed it and that, you know, the food is still safe for them to eat. So
Yeah, I see. So that's actually really a great point. No, perhaps that's a gap that maybe our challengers here can enter. Perhaps they can devise a technology, a system, or a process where the produce can be parang expedite the delivery, the consumption, especially the near expiry. Because looking at the near expiry photo that you had with Bangkerohan, it's very parang one ano na yun, parang one delivery or two deliveries in na kailangan nilang ubusin in parang in 1 day or 2 days, because usually ang perishable ang time na mag-expire siya around 1 day 2 days, yung mga pechay, mga especially yung mga soft na ano. So yun are there still gaps that you have seen apart from, you know, expediting the delivery of this food para dili masayang? Are there still gaps that you see that could have been there to help you in doing your initiatives, and perhaps another a product that you wish was there?
I think one would be the transportation of produce from farms to the city, because this is one of the greatest expense na you know, na napapatong dun sa price ng products. And then as one as what Ma'am Wheat mentioned kanina, there's this initiative or enterprise in Luzon wherein they, through the tricycle drivers, they mobilize and help in selling. I'm not sure, is it Tagani Ma'am Wit who's handling it now? I'm not sure if it's or iba po.
No, this is an LGU in Batangas. Actually, it's an initiative that they did because, number one, wala, limited nga ang access to food from the markets and they wanted to restrict mobility. And then the other one was the tricycle drivers really pretty much lost their income kasi nga wala namang sumasakay sa tricycles. And then so what they and then the farmers had food, and the vendors who operated their sari-sari store or grocery. The good thing about this particular initiative ng LGU was imbis na i-prioritize nila yung big fast food chains as a source of food, ang prioritize nila are small sari-sari stores who were really in dire need to parang generate some form of income. So they were very selective in the aid that they so talagang yung pinaka-marginalized sector ang tinulungan nila by operating this type of delivery and distribution model.
Yes, so yun, I think that's one idea that students or viewers here could probably apply for the Hult competition. Yeah, transport of products. Actually, one that we thought of before was coordinating, paano ba yun? In silos, like, for example, it's very cheap to transport using bicycles, right? There's no gas and even has less carbon footprint. But of course, you can only travel so far with bikes. But if we are able to mobilize all these people and connect them, so for example, one person from the farm maybe can bike 3 to 5 kilometers to the next contact person and bring it. So yun, I think that's one good idea that could be also helped through tech and also through mobilization, of this whole.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Although parang it's like a relay, no? Parang yung
Yeah.
passing the baton na game. It's like a relay. But my concern there, Angeli, is yung safety ng ating roads right now, because not all of our streets have bicycle lanes. So here in kasi I'm right now in Manila, sobrang taas ng cases of hit and run for bicycle riders, even for yung parang scooters, motorized scooters. And I mean, it's Manila. You would think na they would be more conscious. Pero what about the highways? So it's the safety aspect there is something I'm really concerned about. Yun. But Rob, there's a question by Hannah. Her question was, with the pandemic, are there more initiatives from individuals or groups to be able to manage food waste? So I'd like to be able to address that.
Okay po, go ahead po.
When COVID came, I think there was more of the way to manage food waste that many people resorted to was, number one, instead of buying more, they looked at being able to grow their own in their own backyards and in their own containers. So that, in a sense, was a way of food waste management, because it reduced actually the food waste. But here in the village, what I saw was people within the neighborhood through social media was more predisposed to food swapping. Like, for example, I have granola. I have inventory of granola, and then somebody is making pizza. At the end of the day, meron siyang dalawang large pizzas extra kasi may nag-cancel out ng order. What happened was that between neighbors through social media, nagkaroon ng food swapping. And I guess that's kind of like very, very similar to the idea of Angeli to create cloud kitchens, na something that's in excess in one kitchen can be used by another kitchen rather than buying on their own. So kumbaga, it's almost like a shared facility for how we can still exchange and swap ingredients para hindi masayang. So I really like that idea. I think if it's operationalized, it's going to tremendously change the way we buy and even be able to help us effectively use money wisely. In Quezon City, there is a village who, way before COVID, was already doing village-based garbage segregation. From being able to do very effective waste segregation, that particular village set up a shared facility for converting the waste that they gather from the different homes to creating organic fertilizer from compostable waste to selling actually these organic fertilizers. So this village association was able to actually raise revenue to be able to improve some of the common facilities in the village out of the revenues that they raised because they were already very efficient in garbage segregation. So I think we don't have to, it doesn't take rocket science. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't take rocket science to do something that can truly, truly make an impact at the grassroots. Because I have not seen any Davao-based village or subdivision effectively doing waste segregation. And because the problem really of the fast food, if you go beyond the homes, the problem of the fast food, wala ring proper segregation. That's why it's so difficult to convert this waste to to something that you can earn money from, because hindi nga nangyayari yung proper segregation din ng waste. So I guess I hope that answered partly your question, Hannah. I think she also wants to get the point of view of Angeli on that.
Yes.
Go ahead po.
Yes, that's a good question. No? So, siguro in addition to what Ma'am Wit said, yeah, the waste management is actually a huge problem we have to solve, and coordination palang mismo among people, that would be a huge help, just to gather them. Siguro one concern would be like how to sustain operations, but nowadays there's so many grants funding who support social enterprises. Actually, in the recent um, funding, was this a conference? My friend told me that they prefer social enterprises over NGOs because they have seen that social enterprises are more effective, more efficient in delivering impact. No? And then nowadays there are more impact investors. So these are like, unlike venture capitalists, these people are more after impact than profit. So these problems kasi that we have, they are complex, so they need comprehensive solutions on ground and also tech driven. So it should be complementary, and this way I think it would be nice if we really need lots of solutions for waste management. So if we're able to think of solutions that are related to that, the operations and sustainability, I think you can worry about that in the future, in the next steps. First is how you'd be able to create impact. I think that's what's that's what you should think of first, because with so many people nowadays who are more aware of our problems with climate change and how unsustainable, our capitalist economy is. So there are more people who are open to support you. And actually, like sa Sureplus, many of our expenses are being parang, for example, our packing area. It was lent to us for free because the owner has an extra space, and she believed in our advocacy and what we're trying to do. So we got that for free. And then for the food bank, there's one person, because of the pandemic, wala nang nag-rent doon sa building niya. So she's offering us also one place. So from this, you can see that if you're trying to solve a problem where others also see that they want this problem to be solved, and then they see that you're sincere in tackling it, that you will see to it that it's done, it's finished till the end. There are lots of people who are going to support you one way or another. So yeah, so hopefully you can all come up with ideas, projects, initiatives, social enterprises that would help our problems on waste management.
Wow, that's a great launch
If
pad.
I may add,
Yes.
I may add
Yes
to
po.
Angeli's answer, I think there's an ongoing effort for many of the youth to actually do away with waste, and so they go around bringing their own recyclable containers when they purchase food. But the problem is on the regulatory side. Many of the groceries and even supermarkets sometimes do not allow for consumers to put their products, say for example, a kilo of meat, imbis na ilagay sa plastic, ilagay na lang sa recyclable container na dala-dala ng shopper. But we've seen that happen all too often. Hindi ina-allow ng mga supermarket. So I guess it's not just us private citizens being able to try to maintain yung zero waste na lifestyle, but also I think government has to do their part to be able to support it with some policies that will jumpstart yung movement na ganon para talaga waste is reduced. But I think my challenge right now, the challenge that I see is that I think baseline yung food waste management, but I think the next level is really to repurpose food. And I think there's not a lot of effort to do that yet. Like for example, I'm a cacao farmer. I keep pruning my cacao trees, and so the largest waste I have are leaves of cacao. What do I do with the cacao leaves? Can somebody find a way to repurpose them so that it becomes edible to man, edible to animals, or even, I know it's edible to the soil, so we keep it there. We let it rot on the ground, so it becomes soil food. But are there other ways to make use of it? Yung repurposing of food or repurposing of waste to become food again, I think that's where I even get stumped. And I suppose it will be a challenge to be able to combine many aspects, including biotechnology and all that. Like, I mean, look at they say that Burger King is all set to launch already yung plant-based burger, di ba? So kumbaga, and that really is going to tremendously reduce the carbon footprint because of use of plant-based na products. But again, this requires a lot of research, a lot of R&D. So, and I think that is where that is a very significant barrier as far as repurposing food is concerned, because it does require engineering, it requires technology, it requires science and all that.
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Wit. And of course, if we can think, there are already innovations on how to create materials out of organic matter, like vegetables, fruits, like they turn it into plastic, they turn it into energy, they turn it into solar panels. And I think the good thing about that is that there are supplies that we can get, because knowing that vegetables and fruits are one of the pinakamaraming food waste, no? And how are we going to change to turn that into not only a food for us, but also a food for our food, which is our plants, or something, a material that we can use. Of course, we understand Sureplus wants to answer hunger as well. So that's what their parang naging path ng kanilang enterprise. But in some other ways, we can still look for parang ways how to use those food waste into something else, because we already have supplies, no? So that's actually that came up to my to my mind, and that's one thing that our challengers here can consider and think about. I think we don't have any more questions. Thank you so much, Miss Sweet and Miss Angeli, for a very enlightening question and answer, and for sharing your thoughts with us this evening. Of course, daghan kayong salamat sa inyong pag-share. I hope that this fruitful discussion will yield into more social enterprises, because we have our farmers, we have our marginalized that can benefit with innovations, different innovations with food waste, diba? As you can see, di lang siya, it's not just food waste per se, but there are other factors. There are more people that can be involved and grow with with the social enterprise gamit ang food waste. Thank you so much. Of course, this is the last webinar of our last webinar, no, sa Launchpad. This is our third already, and this is still part of the on-campus program. We still have more activities. This is not the end of the on-campus program, because in the following days, we will be having our boot camp and our demo day. So for our challengers here, our students, dear students, you can still send your ideas, ideas to our website, that's www.hultpriceat.com/UM Philippines. Of course, kailangan nyo lang mag-form ng 3 to 4 members. You are open to collaborate with all other departments and programs because diversity is a good thing. Yeah, so there we have business, we have tech, we have engineering, we have health. So a lot of perspectives, a more fruitful enterprise. And also, we still have more exploration to come. So stay tuned with that. Of course, our deadline for the sending of your idea is on November 30. Yes, November 30 ang last ng ating sending of your enterprise idea to our website. So we will close that, and after that, we'll start with the screening already. So, and also, I would like to invite you all, invite you on our mga social media accounts. That's Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and also join our Discord server, which I think my exicom here can also share the link sa ato ang mga ating mga UM students here para maka-join sila, because we will be putting there information, inspiration, mga prompts, or the updates that we had this webinar. If you want to go back and to think about, you may want to answer those questions that Ms. Witt raised a while ago para to start the brainstorming for your social enterprise. We'll post that, and maybe we can also ask for your presentations later, Ms. Witt, if you may. So don't hesitate to message us sa HP at UM na server and ating mga HP at UM Exicom. Thank you so much. Also, before we announce, of course, as promised kaganina, we will be giving away GCash prizes for all of you here who joined us in the Launchpad. But before we will give the prizes, we would like to call for the closing remarks the Technology Officer of the Umasenso Hub, Miss Melissa Misagal. Miss Melissa?
Yes, hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Hult Prize at UM, to my friend Richard. And on behalf of Umasenso Hub, the incubation hub of the University of Mindanao, I want to thank everyone for joining this evening. We in Umasenso Hub fully supports Hult Prize at UM in their advocacy, and I want to thank everyone, the participating students, and of course, our resource persons this evening, Dr. Angeli and Ms. Witt. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy duties to join us this evening to talk about the importance of reducing food waste and repurposing it for sustainability. I believe all of us here this evening have learned so much from very informative and enlightening presentations earlier. And I hope that everything discussed in this webinar, as well as during the previous webinars, will not just stay or remain solely as a discussion here, but will be shared out there to the world, to our friends and families, and that our food waste woes will be really given solutions. And that is where we hope our enterprising students will come in with their innovations and their solutions. And I hope that the webinars have provided inspirations to our students this evening, who I believe are already gearing up for the Hult Prize Challenge. So once again, thank you everyone. And I hope that our enterprising students have already submitted their entries. So if not, please do so. And we all hope to see you in the competition. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Miss Melissa Misagal, the Technology Officer of the Umasenso Hub. So for your closing remarks, and of course, we will be announcing right now the winners of our GCash gift certificate. We have the names already. Thank you very much sa ato ang very active nga Exicom. Okay, so we already have the names in. So ready na ba ang tanan? Of course, for this evening, we'll be giving 50 pesos to 7 winners, 75 pesos for 2 winners, and 1 winner of 100 peso worth of GCash. All right, so we will begin with the um, the 7 winners of the 50 peso GCash. First is Miss Eclair Law. Ayan, congratulations, Miss Eclair Law. Ikaw ang first. Second is Sir Simon Camanzo. So, ang ikatulo is Sir Ivan Bert Damasco. And also our fourth is Allen Lou Aguilar. Congratulations. Ang next is Daniel James Trazo, and also congratulations to Ryan Labrador. And finally, congratulations sa makadawat og 50 pesos worth of GCash gift certificate, Jenny Lynn Ang. Ayan, congratulations, congratulations. Now, we will announce the 2 winners of the 75 pesos worth of GCash gift certificate. First is congratulations to Jerry Moth Perez. Ayan. And also to congratulations din kay Aldrin Adarlo. Ayan. Thank you so much. So you will get 75 pesos worth of GCash gift certificate. Ay, very good kayo ang GCash, no, kay pang internet sa mga online classes. So that's good. And of course, the lucky winner of the 100 pesos GCash gift certificate is congratulations to Eldemar Miraflor. Ayan. Thank you so much, Eldemar. This is done through raffle sa ating Exicom, but we just can't show it because of some technical limitations. But this is fairly raffled for all of you. And of course, our finance officer, Luke Perez, will contact you for on how to give you your awards and your gift certificates, rather. Thank you so much. You can reach out to Luke Perez on Facebook or Messenger. Thank you very much. Ayan. So, of course, we would like to thank our, once again, our sponsors, the Uma Senso Hub, the Kanking Salamat Street by Sureplus, of course, Checkpoint, Lechon Manok, and Liempo House, our media partner, Mindanao Times, and the support of the Council of College Student Government, and support of the Hult Price Foundation, the unicorn.org, and the United Nations Office of Partnership. And of course, you can find the resources that we have sa ating Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And also, we also have LinkedIn in our Discord. And follow and subscribe to them. We really appreciate that. And in behalf of the Hult Prize at University of Mindanao, Executive Committee headed by our campus director, Mr. Richard Arday, thank you very much for supporting us all throughout. And we really appreciate your overwhelming support and interest in the Hult Prize movement, the biggest global movement for social entrepreneurship. This has been, again, Rob Gumba, the operations manager of HP at UM, and your moderator, saying thank you very much, and have a great night. Thank you so much din sa ating speakers. Thank you so much, Miss Angeli and Miss Wit, and have a great night din sa inyo. Thank you.
Thank you so much.